Hello and welcome to another episode of PodcastDX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you whose lives were forever changed by a medical diagnosis. I'm Lita.
And I'm Ron.
And I'm Jean-Marie.
Collectively, we're the hosts of PodcastDX. Our guest today is Lauren Ryan. She has 4 siblings whom she loves dearly. She graduated in 2011 and works at a community center, not this year because of COVID. She's a very social person and grateful for getting her story out to the world. And today she's going to be talking to us about lysosomal disease.
Hi, Lauren.
Lauren, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Please start out by telling us and our listeners what exactly is, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Galactosidosis Lysosomal Disease. And please, for the rest of the episode, can we abbreviate this and just call it Galacto? Is that okay?
Yes, you may call it that. And Galactosialidosis, also known as Galactosialidosis, is a condition that affects many areas of the body. The 3 forms of Galactosialidosis are distinguished by the age at which symptoms develop and the pattern of features.
And Lauren, what were the symptoms that you started having, and at what age did they develop?
Well, I had Galactosialidosis. They diagnosed me when I was born.
Okay.
So, the early infantile form of Galactosialidosis is associated with extensive swelling caused by fluid accumulation before there is pouching in the lower abdomen and intrathecal hernia and an enlarged liver and spleen. Additional features of this form include abnormal bone development and distinctive facial features that are often described as coarse. Some infants have enlarged heart and eye abnormality called cherry red spots, which can be identified with an eye examination and kidney disease that can progress to kidney failure. Infants with this form usually are diagnosed between birth and 3 months. They typically live into late infancy. The late form of Galactosialidosis shares some features with the early infantile form, although the signs and symptoms are somewhat less severe and begin later in infancy. This form is characterized by short stature, diagnosis, multiplex heart valve problems.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, let me see if I can help you with that one. Hepatosplenomegaly.
I don't think that's it, but
Okay. I think it has to do with the liver and the spleen.
Can I take a stab at it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hepatosplenomegaly.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
One day we'll get hosts that actually know how to pronounce medical
Yeah.
terms, but today is not that day. I'm sorry.
Right. That's okay. Go ahead, Lauren.
And coarse facial features. Other symptoms seen in some individuals with the type include intellectual disability, hearing loss, and cherry red spot. Children with this condition typically develop symptoms within the first year of life. The life expectancy of individuals with this type varies depending on severity of symptoms. The juvenile form of Galactosidosis has signs and symptoms that are somewhat different of the other two types. This form is distinguished by difficulty coordinating movement, muscle twitches, seizures, and progressive intellectual disability. People with this form typically also have dark red spots on the skin, abnormalities in the bones of the spine cord, facial features, a cherry red spot, vision loss, and hearing loss. The age at which symptoms begin to develop varies widely among affected individuals, but the average age is 16. This form is typically associated with a normal life expectancy.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you
yeah,
for
wow,
sharing that.
That's definitely a lot, Lauren. Can you please tell us how someone gets Galacto?
It is caused by a mutation of the CTSA gene. Galactosialidosis belongs to a large family of lysosomal storage disease, each caused by the deficiency of a specific lysosomal enzyme or protein. In Galactosialidosis, impaired function of A and other enzymes cause certain substances to accumulate in lysosomes.
Okay. And I think we've said this of many chronic illnesses and diseases. It's you have to become like a subject matter expert, because I think for most people, like myself included, when you mention lysosomes and things, I draw a blank. Right. Because it's just, the body is so complex.
It is. But basically what it is, it's a metabolic disorder. So we'll leave it at that as far as a simplistic term. And thank you, Lauren. I think our listeners will have a little bit of an understanding of what we're talking about now. And we will have links on our website so that people can learn more also. Could you please tell us, how did your condition develop? And I kind of missed when you said, when did yours?
You said infancy, right?
Early infancy or late infancies? I don't remember what you said.
So I was diagnosed at birth.
Oh, at birth.
When I was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how has it developed with you over time? What have been the symptoms that you've had to deal with here?
Well, I have had like little to no symptoms over the course of the years. Like they haven't noticed any changes or anything with my disease in particular, but it's different for every person.
Sure.
Right.
Living with like a chronic illness or disease or whatever. It's going to be different for everybody. But for me, I haven't noticed like any abnormal symptoms or whatever.
I did notice that you said the cherry red spot, which is something an eye doctor would have to see, by looking at your retina. Does that affect your vision at all?
I don't think it does. No,
Okay.
I go see an eye doctor, a pediatric eye doctor every year.
Okay.
Just to check to see if my vision had changed at all.
Okay.
And Lauren, how is galacto or lysosomal storage disorder treated?
The various course that occurs in infants can be treated in several ways. So it can be treated with the intravenous IV enzyme replacement, or it can be done with bone marrow transplant to slow the disease progression, or umbilical cord blood stem cell transplant to restore missing enzymes.
Okay.
For adults, the treatment is symptomatic and supportive. For example, taking medication to control seizures. Individuals with galactosialidosis are encouraged to routinely see their genetic counselors, neurological
Ophthalmologist. Right. Ophthalmologist. Yeah, I can't say it either today.
and other specialists as symptoms arise and keep symptom control.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you're treating the symptoms as they come along. And can lysosomal storage disorders, is there a cure or a potential cure? I know you said that like bone marrow transplantation can help slow the progression. Are they thinking about gene editing or anything like that in the future?
There isn't a cure for lysosomal storage disorders. A few treatments can help, and I actually went to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, and in the beginning, they were gonna do a bone marrow transplant, but they did research on that and found it too risky.
Okay.
So for now, they're doing the enzyme replacement therapy, which they still have to get past the FDA, which has been, it's over 10 years now that it's been at the FDA, so I've been waiting over 10 years.
Wow.
Well, and I would have to say, for all of our listeners out there, if you can donate bone marrow, it's a quick cheek swab to see if you're a match for someone who needs it. So hopefully this interview will encourage more people to get out there and donate.
Right.
So Lauren, can you tell our listeners how common are these lysosomal storage disorders? Are they rare, or are they pretty common, or what can you tell us?
Sure, more than 100 cases of the lysosomal storage disease have been reported. Approximately 60% of people with galactosialidosis had the juvenile form. Most people with this type of condition are of Japanese descent. Now, I have contact with 3 people with galactosialidosis, and only one of them are close to me medical-wise.
Okay.
And I think we said earlier in another episode that less than 200,000 cases is rare. So yours is
100.
Very rare.
Yeah,
Very,
very,
very
very,
rare.
very, very rare.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to find someone to be part of, your group because, that can help.
What I find interesting, too, is the last thing she said about most people are of Japanese descent. I mean, that's pretty specific.
Of the adult and
Yeah.
juvenile.
Right.
Okay.
The one that's
Okay.
from birth,
Right.
not necessarily, right?
Okay.
So Lauren, what was the first symptom or the symptoms that first made you realize?
Or your parents.
Yeah, I guess your
Well,
parents.
yeah, if it was at birth,
Yeah.
right. What was the first symptom that made your parents realize that something was
Different?
Yeah,
Off,
yeah,
wrong? Yeah.
right.
Well, when I was born, I had extra abdominal fluid.
Okay.
So I had extra fluid like in my stomach area, and then basically they took like a biopsy of skin from me and my mom and dad to test it to see if anything was wrong or anything.
Okay. Well, at least they had an idea and where to look, which is good.
Yeah, but that's got to be tough. I mean, you have a new infant and here they're going to take a biopsy.
Right.
Lauren, do you know if there are any studies currently going on, either to try to find a cure or improve overall symptoms?
I know that, well, my researcher at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital actually has done everything that she can do.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's up to the FDA to approve it.
Okay.
Okay.
So the research has been done, but it's got to get approved.
Wow, 10 years, you
Yeah,
said.
which
Yeah.
has been taking like a long time
Right.
to do.
I wonder if because it's so rare, if that's what's causing the delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my guess. But the good thing is, I think my one brother is going to college for genetics.
Oh wow! Talk about a special family bond
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Oh wow!
Yeah, he said he wants to find like a treatment because he said he wants me to live life to the fullest and he doesn't want to see me suffer anymore. So,
Amazing.
Yeah. Hey, Lauren, what role, I guess, for lack of a better word, self-care, what do you do for yourself every day?
To help you get through these.
Does ice or heat or swimming, pool therapy?
Is there anything that makes you feel better?
Right.
well, I have a lot of arthritis in my hips especially, so I like to do like a warm shower or just any swimming or anything is really good for your joints and stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, we were speaking with someone a little bit ago, and she's designing swimsuits.
Adaptive
swimwear.
swimwear because it's such a great
Need?
Yeah, there's such a great need, and it's such a great thing to a nice warm therapy pool is fantastic for almost everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Lauren, well, you already mentioned that your brother wants to go into genetics. I can't talk much at all.
Nope.
Genetics to help you. What other help has your family or friends done to
Along
get
your
you,
healthcare journey.
Yeah, to get you through your
We're all
healthcare journey.
struggling today.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stumble all over my words.
Well, I have 3 people in healthcare in my family,
Wow.
so they know a little bit about my disease. Now, my mom is a nurse, so she knows more about my condition than about like anything else. Like she reads up on it like a lot and stuff, and just having like a mom that knows, like for a disease standpoint, having a mom that knows what she's doing and stuff is really helpful and encouraging and stuff.
That's very important.
Yeah, that's
very
fantastic.
important. It's a good support.
Yeah, that's
right. Could you tell our listeners what's the best advice that you've heard to cope with having a rare disease, and what advice would you give to somebody that has been recently diagnosed with a rare disease?
The best advice for me, I think, because I'm very short, I'm 43.
Okay.
So it affected my growth stuff. So, like, a lot of the times my mom would say, good things come in small packages.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yes. Excellent.
It's something that I believe is good. Like, it's common with a lot of people with rare diseases. The good things can come in small packages.
Right.
And just for anybody that's been diagnosed, I would say, so I'm a Christian, so I would say that, like, if you weren't supposed to be here, God wouldn't have created you, and He has a purpose for everybody going through hard things in their life. At some point, everybody is going to go through something hard. It's just, what are you going to do with the opportunity that God has given you?
Very nice.
Yeah.
And yet we're lucky to have someone someone like you out there advocating for others, and you're an inspiration.
That's definitely some great advice.
Very nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lauren, how can our listeners learn more about you? And do you have any social media account or anything like that you want to share with us?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram. So my username is StJude819, and then I'm also on Facebook, and I do have like a private Facebook group called Galactosialidosis. It's where like people with my disease can go, and we can share different things about our disease that'll hopefully help other people.
Okay.
I will make sure that we put those links on our website so that others can see those. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us today, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Well, again, we appreciate you sharing your story. I know we've learned a lot, and I think the rest of our listeners have also learned a lot about Galacto.
Right. And good things come in small packages.
Absolutely.
I'm going to remember
That's
that.
some great, yeah.
Well, and I think Lita really likes that because she's a petite.
I'm short.
Yeah, she's petite too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm the shortest one in the household.
Yeah.
All right. If our listeners have any questions or comments related to today's show, they can always contact us at PodcastDX@yahoo.com. Also through our website, PodcastDX.com. They can reach us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or Instagram. And as always, please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare providers with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regime, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast.
Till next week.